The 8 of Wands is known as swiftness, and indeed straight away we can see the symbol for Mercury here on the card, and Mercury, due to its mobility and behaviour, was of course known as Quicksilver. Over on the Rider-Waite card we can see a much more simple image where the wands appear to be flying rapidly and swiftly throughout the air. Nothing is stopping them or coming in their way. They are flying through the air completely at will and free until, of course, they would come to their landing in a place of manifestation. Of interest, we can also see on the Rider-Waite card this mound or mountain in the background, of which is a symbol that we shall also see here on the actual Thoth card. On the Tree of Life, the 8 of Wands can be found in the Sephiroth of Hod. And this is an interesting one because it is related to the building of form. And so Hod is a constructor. It is taking the unmanifested realm, the clay, and forming it into recognisable forms that we can pick up and say, this exists. Aleister Crowley himself spoke about this, and he said that Hod is a reaction to the mischievous nature of Netzach, of which mirrors Hod upon the Tree of Life, and so it's suggesting a coming together of emotions and feelings with, of course, the ability to give them form. Netzach is also ruled by Venus, and the will, Hod, is ruled once again by Mercury, and therefore we have a perfect balance turning thoughts into things. Having a look at the symbolism on this card, it's of particular interest. This is the only card upon the wand suit which doesn't actually have wands on it. The wands have been turned into these bolts of electricity, these sparks or rays. And first and foremost, these are related to the element of Sagittarius that we see upon this card. And so we have that influence coming through there, the shooting forth of the arrow of desire, and the ray of light, again moving very quickly, vibrationally, to produce what it is, essentially to hit the target and create manifestation. On a more esoteric level, these moving bolts of electricity, these impulses of energy, are talking about that actual physical world and what it's made out of. And so Crowley describes this in the Book of Thoth as electrical rays sustaining or even constituting matter by their vibrational energy. And so that is what we're seeing there, the makeup of the world. We think everything's solid. It's not. It's all made out of vibrations and frequencies of energy moving at different speeds, and the simply reason we don't go through them when we touch them is that our bodies are also made of the same thing and are vibrating at the same speed as what they are. And this is in itself a work of great wonder when we see the world not simply of solid form, but of energies coming together to create a semblance of form, a thing that we understand as form. Then it means something different, it means something more spiritual, and perhaps even we have more of a respect for it in that way. The image in the centre from where these rays are emanating from and through, this geometrical shape of which seems to be two pyramids overlapping each other and therefore creating an 8-pointed shape, is that world of form. So these type of diamond looking crystalline patterns in the Thoth Tarot almost always represent the actual world, the physical world of which we inhabit right now as we're watching the video. It's also, because there are 8 points on it, representing the symbolic side of the Hod Sephiroth, of which we have had before on the Tree of Life. Because Hod is concerned with Mercury, and we have Mercury as one of the elements in this card, it's a perfect balance and it's a perfect symbol to actually show there with that number 8. And it's also saying swiftness. It's saying swift action is important to making these things work, and we've heard this in our New Thought movements yet again with these phrases such as the universe like speed and there's no time like the present and things like that, saying basically don't just sit around waiting for something to happen. Put that energy out there right now and it's going to instantly, swiftly start manifesting. We may block it as we move on, but it will start manifesting straight away in, of course, its vibrational form. Perhaps one of the most interesting symbols upon this card is that rainbow shape shown at the top there, and this is what it is. It is a rainbow. Rainbow is a division of light into 7 colours, of which are the spectrum of visible light, the way of which we actually see the world around us, all of the colours and shapes. This spectrum of light has many different ways of being interpreted, all these different forces coming together, making up all the different types of forms that there are in the universe and within us as well, because we have various different conscious expressions and emerging personality traits and orders of being all around us, and they're all represented by a great spectrum of all possibility. Of course, there's more to it than that, as there usually are, and we can see in the Book of Thoth, as Crowley describes this symbol himself, that above this restored universe shines the rainbow, the division of pure light, which deals with the maxima and into the 7 colours of the spectrum, of which exhibit interplay and correlation. And so he's saying that they're not really separate. They appear to be separate, and indeed all the colours are very much their own colour and their own energy, their own warmth or coldness even, as it may be. They mean something separate, and yet they come together and they come from that same origin, and they play with that, they interplay with each other, they mix their colours together to create even more vibrant or wonderful expressions of that. And indeed, this image of the shape in the middle, the rays coming from it, and the rainbow emanating above it is reminiscent of a prism. And we've seen this type of prism, it's very popular, shown on the album cover of The Dark Side of the Moon, for instance. It's a very well-known symbol. And this shows a oneness coming from the left-hand side here. So this is God, this is the singularity, it's the origin of all of those colours, and it passes through the pyramid shape to become creation, to become a world of colour and a world of divided colours which come together. And so when we see in the Book of the Law, the goddess Nuit exclaims, "I am divided for love's sake and for the chance of union." That's what she's saying, that there is no bond that can unite these colours back together apart from love. And so that moment where they pass through that liminal point is that point of love, and everything spreads out into the universe in its own separate way, and yet comes back together into that oneness, which is that divine love. Because we see, however, 2 pyramid shapes here, and indeed the pyramid shape as represented on the spectrum, there is even more to this than what first meets the eye. That pyramid shape is Benben, of which is the primordial mound in Egyptian creation mythology, rises from the primordial waters of Nu, upon which the creator god Atum settled, and that is a coming together of God and goddess. And there's even more to it than that, because Benben represents a pregnant earth. Because we have that polarity of male and female in there, it is suggesting here that the very earth itself is pregnant. And upon the card, it is pregnant with those rays of electricity of which are coming out in all directions and giving birth to form, giving birth to the plants and the trees and the mountains and the seas and everything that we express around us in the actual world. And so in our ancient Egyptian mythology we see this, we see Atum, a sky father, which is one of the earliest ever types of male god deity, and indeed our rainbow is above the card, it's in the sky. And so we have a sky father coming together with Isis, or an earth mother, and so the actual womb of that earth mother is shown as Benben, shown as the Benben stone and the Great Pyramids. It's a fertile, pregnant earth. It's an absolutely beautiful symbol, of which is shown here, of course, on the card, that primordial womb, of which is carrying within it the light, the rainbow of the illuminated world itself. And because of they all come together in that centre, they are divided, and now they come together in unity, and the unity is love itself, where they all come from, where they all spread out from, and where they come back to again at the end of their journey. And so when you pick this card in your reading, it's talking about that world of the tangible, that world of the physical, the geometric form itself. And so something may arise in our lives in the physical world, which means that we need to act quickly in order to manifest it. And so it could be an opportunity which is only going to come around once, or something such as that. And it's saying, don't resist it, go with the flow, don't think about it too much, just move on with it, and things will manifest in a clear and many ways wonderful way. It's telling us that it's time to put everything we've learned so far into action and create the things that we want, make our own geometrical shapes, of which, when we understand that they are vibrational and that they are divided purely for love's sake, will start to manifest in our lives very, very quickly and wonderfully and clearly.